Hi guys, I'm Annalise, this is Tyson, and welcome to Get Planty With It. Say with me, get planty with it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about an exciting topic, which is my current wish list plants. So this list changes pretty frequently. I'll fall in love with a plant, and then after seeing it a bunch, I'm kind of over it. These are plants that have been on my wish list for a while, so I know that these are plants that I really want. Typically, I try not to get plants that are on my wish list unless they've been there for at least a few months because my mind changes pretty frequently. So these are the ones that I'm hoping to get in the next year or so. So let's just jump into it. So today I'm going to be talking about my top 9 wish list plants. I'm going to break them down into categories. I have the majority of them are philodendron because that's my favorite genus currently, but I do have a few other types of plants on the list. The first philodendron on the list is the philodendron bicolor. I actually only recently found out about this plant a few months ago. I haven't really seen it in a lot of people's collections, but I saw it on a video by YouTuber James Armstrong. Definitely check out his channel. He has a really beautiful collection of plants, a lot of rare plants. But I saw it on his channel and I was instantly struck by its beauty. It has these beautiful long leaves with a green front and kind of maroon red back. That's why it's called bicolor, because it has 2 colors, one on each side. And they just are beautiful leaves. They're kind of long and strappy, and I don't have a lot of plants like that. I really don't have any philodendron like that I can think of. So definitely a plant I think will add a lot of intrigue to my collection and one that I want. Unfortunately, they do seem pretty inaccessible at this moment. When I look it up on Etsy, there are not a lot of listings for it at all. And the listings that I'm seeing are in the 4-digit range, which is obviously out of my price point. So probably not gonna be coming my way anytime soon, but plant prices have been dropping a little bit. So maybe I'll find a great steal and deal somewhere, we'll see. But that's one that's on my wish list and probably will stay on my wish list for at least another year because I will not be able to get one, most likely. Next up is the philodendron SODOROL. Now, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you know I love my philodendron ploumannii and my philodendron mammii, and they have a similar vibe to the SODOROL, but the SODOROL just has this beautiful pillowy leaf texture, silver all over the leaves, and can get these massive heart-shaped leaves, which I love. Definitely one I'm hoping to add to my collection. I would love to get a slightly more mature one. The only ones I've seen currently is starting off with really small leaves, and I'd love to start a little bit bigger because it'd be really cool to have a large plant of that. They are a little bit pricey, but I'm hoping that maybe I can find one for trade or I can import one to make it a little bit more affordable. So the next philodendron on the list I think is likely on a lot of people's wish list because it's so beautiful, and that's the philodendron Florida Beauty. The variegation on this plant is absolutely stunning. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna put up a picture so you can see what it looks like, but it gets yellow, white variegation. Every leaf is so different. There can be sectoral variegation, there can be more of a speckled variegation, a mottled variegation. So many different possibilities for what each leaf is gonna look like. And it's one of those plants that you get so excited with every single leaf that's coming out because they're all so different. The price point on these plants from what I've seen is still pretty expensive, even for a single leaf cutting. It is in the hundreds of dollars, which I don't have at the moment, but hopefully I can figure out a trade at some point or find one for a decent price because that's definitely at the top of my wish list. I should mention the order that I'm saying these plants in is not the order that they are on my wish list. There's no real order to my wish list, so these are all plants that I'm really excited about currently. Okay, the last philodendron on my wish list is a variegated golden dragon. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So it's an absolutely beautiful plant. In their mature form, they get these really large leaves, and the shape kind of resembles a dragon head, which is why it's called the dragon. And there is a variegated version with this beautiful yellow variegation. There's also one I've seen with lime green variegation. I'd be really cool with either one of them, but I think it's really different than any other plant I have. At this point in my plant journey, I'm trying to get plants that are not similar to other ones in my collection. Even though I do want doubles of all my plants, of course, I'm trying to keep it diverse. And so the philodendron golden dragon is definitely not like any other plant. I think they're not too difficult to get. I think they are probably in the triple-digit range, but I'm hoping that's one I can find pretty soon. I've seen some listings on eBay for not horrible prices, so I'll keep you guys updated if I'm able to acquire any of those philodendron on my list. So moving on to Hoya, I actually only have 2 Hoya on this list. There's way more Hoya that I want, but I did have to cut it down so this video wasn't, an hour long of me listing every Hoya variety. But the first up Hoya that I'm really in love with is the Hoya Sarawak. Now, if you haven't seen this Hoya, it has the most beautiful large leaves. A lot of Hoyas do have smaller leaves, but this one is just like these stunning, massive kind of roundish leaves. So from what I've heard, they actually grow pretty easily and grow at a decent pace as compared to some of the slower growing Hoyas. And they usually go for, from what I've seen on Etsy, about maybe $100 to $120 for a single leaf cutting. So that is a lot when you consider that you're buying one leaf, and for a plant that does grow more slowly than maybe a philodendron. But I think that it would pay off in the end because it's just so beautiful, so different than any other Hoya I have. I'm hoping for this one that I can figure out some sort of trade with somebody for some other sort of plant, maybe a Hoya, maybe not, but I'm hoping that I can get this one soon because I really, really love it. The next Hoya is actually a pretty common one. I know quite a few people have this plant already, and that is the Hoya carnosa compacta variegata. So I have my compacta right here, and she is just, I'm in love with her. She's so beautiful. Oh, needs a little bit of water probably, but so beautiful. She's actually, I heard they were incredibly slow growers, but this one's actually growing at a decent pace for me. This leaf up here is new, and this whole tendril here is completely brand new in the past maybe 3-4 weeks. So it's not as slow as some other Hoyas that I have, but this one I'm in love with. And so the obvious next step would be to get the variegated version. There are two different variegated versions. There's the Albo variegata one, and then there's the Mauna Loa. Don't know if I said that right, but I'll put pictures of both on the screen. I think both are absolutely stunning. I know the Mauna Loa is very hard to get, very expensive, and usually sold as like a 1-inch cutting for a pretty high price point. So I think I'd start out with the Albo just to see how I do with that one, make sure I can take care of it, and hopefully I can get a slightly larger one, or at least the size of the compacta I currently have in the Albo variegata form. There's so many more Hoyas that I think are absolutely stunning, but that's where I'm limiting my list for now. I'm trying to keep it reasonable and not put too many super expensive plants on my list. Okay, so moving on to the next plant, or moving on to the next genus. I didn't know that I would be so into Anthurium. I got one in a import order I did from Indonesia, and it was okay. Didn't love it at first, but now it's been growing so well that I've fallen in love with it and just want to add to my Anthurium collection. So the one I already have is an Anthurium crystallinum. I mean, look at this leaf. The silver is insane. The leaves are so cute. They come in so little in this brown color, and then they grow quite a bit. So this one will be super cute to see how big this leaf gets. But the Anthurium I'm really wanting at this point is a CLARINERVIUM. I think they're so beautiful. So many people have these really beautiful large specimens, so that's definitely one I hope to add. I've seen them available for import a lot. Sometimes local people are selling them, so I'm hoping that's another one that's kind of on the more realistic end of plants on my wish list. Okay, so moving on, I have one SCINDAPSUS on my wish list. Now, I've been going back and forth with this plant for quite a while because I feel like half the time that I see specimens in, Instagram posts or videos, they look really, really beautiful. And then the other half the time they look kind of sad, which makes me worried that they're difficult to care for, or they're just kind of a sad looking plant if you get a bad specimen. So I was kind of on the fence, but I think I'm gonna hopefully take the plunge soon. And that is a jade satin SCINDAPSUS. They're actually decently affordable. I mean, I hesitate to say affordable because it's like probably $50 for a single leaf or maybe 2-leaf cutting, which isn't very affordable. But in the world of rare plants, it's not the worst, price plant out there. But I have seen some really beautiful specimens recently, so I'm hoping if I get a pretty healthy looking cutting, that'll become a beautiful plant. I know they're slower growers as well, so that's not ideal, but definitely one that I think is pretty stunning, really different than any other SCINDAPSUS. I only have 2 SCINDAPSUS. I'm not super into collecting every single one. I think the 2 I have kind of fulfill the need of SCINDAPSUS for me, but this one specifically is super different that I think it would really add something unique to my collection, especially because the leaves are so dark. Looking around, I don't have a ton of really dark green leaf plants, so I think that's one that would be fun to add to my collection. Okay, and then last up, this is a plant that everybody has. I don't know what's been going on and what's taken me so long, but I just have not gotten around to getting it, and that is a variegated string of hearts. Yes, I know, everyone has one. They're not even that hard to get. They're not even that expensive. What am I doing? I'm not really sure. But I've really been kind of waiting to find the right specimen. A lot of times you see them in like these tiny 2-inch pots with 2 little hearts in there, and I'd rather get one that's a little bit fuller to start with so I don't have to grow it from the smallest plug ever. But we'll see. Hopefully that's one I can get in the next, month or so, because it's really not that hard to find, but I just have to find the right one. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but sometimes you see a certain plant and you fall in love with that specific specimen. I try to do that when I'm buying plants. I really want to find one that I'm in love with a certain plant. For instance, this was on my wish list, but I did just pick one up. Okay, this is a Hoya obovata splash, but as you can see, it's kind of weird looking. I mean, these leaves are like kind of wonky. This one looks like someone took a bite out of it, But for some reason, I saw this exact specimen and I was like, this is the one. Which is so weird. You would think, why would you not get like a really perfect one with perfectly round leaves, blah, blah, blah. No. Saw this one, fell in love. So I don't know if you guys do that too. Do you see certain plants, even if they're weird looking or different, that you're like, that is the one? That's what I'm kind of waiting for with my wish list, to find a plant that I really know is gonna be the one. So that's pretty much it, wrapping up my wish list for summer 2021. I'll probably do another wish list video in the fall because I'm sure it'll be different then. Definitely leave a comment down below with your wish list plants. I really love adding new plants to my wish list and learning about new plants. So comment below, what is your current top wish list plant? Also, if you have any of these plants and you want to set up a trade, definitely I'd be open to that. I'd love to make a trade for any of the plants on my wish list. So you can definitely send me a DM on Instagram, which you should follow me on if you haven't already. It's at GetPlantyWithIt. And that's pretty much it for today. So thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a really wonderful, beautiful day.